The Cabernet splashed across her bronze skin like a wound reopening, and for 3 seconds the gallery held its breath. But the man in the shadows didn't. Mila's fingers trembled as she held the black silk dress against her frame. The boutique mirror reflected a stranger, a woman in expensive clothes who still flinched when the sales assistant moved too quickly behind her. "Madam, shall I wrap it?" She nodded, throat tight. The price tag could have fed her for a month 2 years ago. Now it was just paper. The platinum band on her finger felt heavier than the world. She twisted it, a nervous habit that betrayed everything she was trying to bury. Her phone buzzed. "Mayion, where are you?" 3 words. No warmth. That was how he spoke, efficient, controlled. Terrifying to everyone else. To her, it was the only voice that had ever asked her whereabouts without it feeling like a leash. "Shopping," she typed back. "Home soon." She didn't tell him about the gallery event tonight. Didn't tell him that her ex, the man who'd spent 3 years making her believe she was nothing, would be there. She'd handle it. Slip in, support her friend's art, slip out. Invisible, safe. That's what she told herself. Across the city, Mayion sat in his penthouse office, fingers steepled as 2 men knelt before him. The dragon tattoo coiling up his neck seemed to move in the low light. "You touched what wasn't yours," he said, voice like silk over a blade. "I don't repeat lessons." The men trembled. Mayion didn't raise his voice. He never did. His associate, Jay, handed him a folder. He flipped it open, scanned it, then slid it across the obsidian desk. "Your families are relocated. Clean. You, however?" His phone buzzed. "Mila, shopping. Home soon." His jaw tightened imperceptibly. She was lying. He'd already received the report. She'd RSVP'd to the gallery under her maiden name, the same gallery her ex-fiancé's family sponsored. She thought she was protecting him. Foolish, beautiful. His. "Jay," Mayion said, standing, "prepare the car and pull every file we have on Ethan Harlow." "Sir, the event is public." "I didn't ask for analysis." His eyes went black. "I asked for a file." He buttoned his suit jacket, the dragon seeming to coil tighter. Mila didn't know it yet, but tonight her past would try to destroy her one last time, and Mayion would make sure it never breathed again. Mila stared at her phone, Mayon's message still glowing on the screen. She almost told him the truth. Almost. But how do you explain to a man who commands fear that you're still afraid of a ghost? What would you do? Tell the truth and risk everything, or protect someone you love by staying silent? Drop your thoughts below. The gallery hummed with champagne chatter and soft jazz. Mila stood before a painting of a phoenix, her bronze skin glowing under track lighting. The black dress she'd bought hugged her frame, armor pretending to be silk. Well, playing dress-up again? Her blood froze. Ethan Harlow appeared beside her, cologne suffocating, smile venomous. Tall, white, old money handsome. The man who'd once promised her the world, then spent 3 years convincing her she deserved none of it. "Ethan." Her voice barely escaped. "I didn't know you'd be here? At my family's event?" He laughed, sharp and cold. "Of course you knew. That's why you came, isn't it? Still obsessed. Still trying to claw your way back into relevance." People were watching now. Phones emerging. Mila's throat closed. "I'm just here for the art." "Don't." He stepped closer, voice dropping to a whisper only she could hear. "You think wearing expensive clothes changes what you are? You're still the charity case I pitied, the mistake I had to scrub from my reputation?" He grabbed a glass of Cabernet from a passing server. "Let me remind you where you belong." The wine arced through air like blood. It hit her chest, her neck, her face, warm, wet, staining. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Camera flashes erupted. Mila stood frozen, red dripping down her dress onto marble floors. Ethan leaned in, his breath hot against her ear. That's for wasting 3 years of my life, you ungrateful..." A hand, gloved, black, clamped onto Ethan's wrist mid-sentence. The gallery went silent. Mayion stepped from the shadows like death itself. His suit was immaculate. His eyes were murder. "Finish that sentence," Mayion whispered, his accent soft, his grip breaking bone. "And they'll never find all of you." Ethan's face drained of color. Mila's heart stopped. Her husband had been watching the entire time. Mayon's eyes never left Ethan, but his free hand reached for Mila, gentle, reverent. The same hand that could kill now trembled slightly as it brushed wine from her cheek. When someone you love is publicly humiliated, do you react with rage or restraint? What would you do? Mayon's penthouse was silent except for Mila's shallow breathing. She sat on the edge of the leather sofa, still wearing the wine-stained dress, refusing to meet his eyes. He knelt before her, a king bowing to his queen, holding a warm towel. "Let me. I can do it myself." Her voice cracked. "Mila." "Don't." She stood abruptly, arms wrapped around herself. "Don't look at me like that." "Like what?" "Like I'm broken." Tears spilled over. "Like you need to fix me." Mayion rose slowly, jaw tight. "I don't think you're broken." "Then why are you here? Why did you follow me? I didn't need you to—" "To what? Watch my wife be assaulted and do nothing?" His voice dropped, lethal. "You think I could stand in that room and let him touch you?" "He didn't touch me. He violated you." 3 words, each one a death sentence. In front of 100 people who did nothing. Who recorded it? Who will make you a spectacle by morning? Mila flinched. She knew. God, she knew. I was handling it. By drowning? Mayon's control slipped for the first time. By standing there and taking it like you deserved it? The words hung like shattered glass. Mila's breath hitched. "You don't understand." "Then make me." Silence stretched. She wanted to run, wanted to hide. But his eyes, those dark, patient eyes, held her captive. "I didn't tell you about tonight because—" Her voice broke. "Because I knew you'd see me the way I see myself. Small, used, not worth the trouble." Mayon's expression shattered. He crossed the space between them in 2 strides, framing her face with both hands. "You are the only thing in this world I have ever called sacred," he whispered, forehead pressed to hers. And I will burn down anyone who makes you forget that." Her walls crumbled. He said I was nothing without him. "Then let me show you what happens to men who lie to my wife." Mayion carried her to the bathroom, not because she couldn't walk, but because he needed to hold something that was his. The marble was cold. The water was warm. He sat her on the counter, slowly unzipping the ruined dress. "Tell me about him," he said quietly, peeling fabric from skin. "All of it." Mila's hands shook. "Why?" "Because I need to know every wound before I cauterize it." She exhaled, broken. "We met at university. I was a scholarship student. He was legacy, old money, untouchable." Her voice hollowed. "At first he made me feel seen, special. Then he made me feel grateful." Mayon's jaw clenched, but he stayed silent, cleaning wine from her collarbone with devastating gentleness. He'd cancel dates and say I was too sensitive, lock me out of his apartment when I disagreed with him. Once in winter, I waited outside for 4 hours. She laughed bitterly. "I thought it was love." Mayon's hand stilled. He controlled everything. My clothes, my friends, my job interviews. He'd call and say I was unstable. I got fired 3 times. Tears fell freely now. When I finally saved enough to leave, he found my cat, Nayla, and told me he'd rehomed her. Said I was too distracted to care for anything. Mayon's knuckles went white around the towel. I never saw her again. He set the towel down, pulling her into his chest. She felt his heartbeat, steady, furious. "What was the cat's name again?" "Nala, why?" He pulled out his phone, typed something, then pocketed it. Or no reason. But Mila saw it in his eyes. Ethan Harlow had just signed his own death warrant. Mayon's office glowed with monitors. Jay stood beside him, tablet in hand, face grim. We've accessed Harlow's private servers, medical records, restraining order Mila filed 4 years ago, dismissed due to lack of evidence. 3 women before her with similar complaints, all settled with NDAs. Mayon's expression didn't change. It didn't need to. The cat? Tracked to a shelter in Incheon, euthanized 2 weeks after intake due to overcrowding. Jay hesitated. Sir, she died the same month Mila left him. Mayion closed his eyes. When they opened, they were empty. He killed her pet to punish her for leaving. It appears so. Silence, then. I want everything. Bank accounts, property, mistresses, with the college donation his family made to bury the assault complaints. Every skeleton. Already compiled. And the witnesses from tonight's gallery? We've identified 43 people who filmed and did nothing. What would you like done? Mayion turned, looking toward the bedroom where Mila finally slept. Nothing yet. He straightened his cuffs. But make a list. Anyone who profited from her humiliation will pay for it. Jay nodded. And Harlow? He thinks I'll kill him. That's mercy. Mayon's voice went soft, dangerous. I'm going to erase him. Every accomplishment, every legacy. I want him to feel what he made her feel. Invisible? Powerless. A notification pinged. Security footage. Mila, awake, standing at the window. Mayion moved toward the bedroom. Before entering, he paused. Jay, find out where they buried the cat. Sir? My wife deserves to say goodbye. Mila stood at the floor-to-ceiling window, Soul's lights sprawling below like fallen stars. She didn't hear Mayion enter, but felt his presence, the way gravity feels inevitable. Can't sleep? His voice was softer now. I keep seeing their faces, the people at the gallery. They just watched. He moved behind her, close but not touching. They're cowards. They were afraid. Of what? Of being next? Of losing their standing? Of having to choose between comfort and courage? He paused. The world is full of people who mistake silence for safety. She turned. His face was shadowed, vulnerable in a way she'd never seen. When did you become like this? She whispered. So, controlled? When control was the only thing that kept me alive. He looked past her, high into memory. I was 8 when my father's enemies burned our home. I watched my mother choose which son to save, me or my brother. She chose me. Mila's breath caught. I spent 20 years building an empire so I'd never be powerless again. So no one could make me choose. His eyes found hers. Then I met you. And suddenly there was no choice, only you. She reached up, tracing the dragon on his neck. What does it mean? Rebirth through fire. He caught her hand, pressed it to his chest. You asked why I followed you tonight. It's because the thought of you in pain... His voice broke. I would raise cities, Mila. I would become the monster they already think I am. For you, there is no line I wouldn't cross. She kissed him then. Soft, desperate, healing. When they pulled apart, he whispered, You are not his to shame. You're mine to worship. For the first time in years, Mila believed she was worth something. Morning came with a knife. Mila's phone exploded with notifications, headlines, photos, videos. The gallery incident had gone viral. Gold digger gets what she deserves. Harlow, heir, confronts ex who tried to baby trap him. Social climber publicly shamed. Her hands shook as she scrolled. Comment sections were cesspools. Racist slurs, memes, threats. Then a text from an unknown number. You think marrying Asian money makes you untouchable? I'll destroy you both. Enjoy the show. Attached, a photo of Mayon's penthouse. Someone had been watching. Panic clawed her throat. She found Mayion in his office, surrounded by monitors. He looked up, saw her face, and immediately stood. What happened? I need to leave. The words tumbled out. Why, he's not going to stop. He'll come after you. Your business, everything. Mila, you don't understand. This is what he does. He ruins people. I can't let him ruin you. So you'll run? Mayon's voice went cold. You'll let him win again? I'm protecting you. By abandoning the one person who's never abandoned you? He stepped closer, eyes blazing. You think I can't handle Ethan Harlow? I've buried men twice as dangerous before breakfast. This is different. Why? Because you still think you're not worth fighting for? The words landed like a slap. Mila's eyes filled with tears. I'm trying to save you. I don't need saving. I need my wife to trust that I'm strong enough to protect us both. His voice cracked. But you're still letting him own you. She grabbed her coat, vision blurred. I can't do this. Mila, the door slammed. Mayion stood alone in the silence, fists clenched. Then slowly he smiled. She'd run before. She wouldn't this time. He'd make sure of it. Mila sat in a cafe 3 blocks away, staring at her untouched coffee. Her phone buzzed relentlessly. Mayion calling. She didn't answer. What was she doing? Running, again, like always. The barista's TV played the news. Harlow Industries announces major acquisition of... Her stomach turned. Ethan was still winning, still taking, and she was still hiding. You're still letting him own you. Mayon's words echoed. She thought of the gallery, the wine, the laughter, the cameras. Then she thought of Mayion kneeling before her. His hands, hands that could kill, trembling as they cleaned her wounds. You are the only thing I have ever called sacred. Her phone buzzed again. This time, a text from Jay. The chairman requests your presence. He won't move without your word. She stared at the message. Mayion wasn't trying to save her. He was waiting for her to save herself. Her hands stopped shaking. She stood, left cash on the table, and walked out into the rain. Mayion stood on the penthouse balcony when she returned, drenched, defiant. I'm not running, she said. He turned. I know. I want him destroyed, completely. I know. She stepped closer, eyes fierce. But I don't want you to do it for me. I want us to do it together. Mayon's expression shifted. Pride, love, something feral. Then let's bury him. She took his hand. End him, Mayion, but let me watch. The press conference was Ethan's idea, damage control. He stood behind a podium flanked by lawyers, smiling that practiced smile. Recent allegations are completely unfounded. My ex-fiancé has a history of instability. The doors burst open. Mila walked in wearing red. Blood red, wine red, victory red. Mayion followed, a shadow in tailored black. Ethan's face drained. Don't stop on my account, Mila said, voice steady, amplified. She approached the podium, cameras swarmed. You called me unstable. Let's clarify. She placed a folder on the podium. These are medical records from 3 hospitals documenting injuries I sustained during our relationship. Here's the restraining order your family's lawyers buried. And these... She pulled out photos. Are the 5 women before me you paid to stay silent? Gasps, flashes, chaos. Ethan lunged for the folder. Mayon's hand caught his throat mid-reach. Don't, Mayion whispered. Breathe wrong. And I'll forget we're in public. Security rushed forward, then stopped. Mayon's men lined the walls. Mila leaned into the microphone. You tried to make me invisible, but here I am, and the world is watching. She turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and Ethan? Your family's assets? Frozen? You're bored? Voting you out in an hour. Your legacy? She smiled. Erased. Mayion handed her a final document. One more thing. She opened it, tears springing to her eyes. A photo, a grave marker. Nala. Beloved companion, forever remembered. We found her, Mayion whispered. She's been relocated to a private memorial. You can visit anytime. Mila's composure shattered. She turned into his chest, sobbing. Behind them, Ethan collapsed as his lawyer whispered the numbers. Bankruptcy, criminal charges, social exile. See, 6 months later, Mila stood in an art gallery, her own. The walls displayed work from women who'd survived. The foundation bore her name. Mayion stood beside her, hand at her waist. A server approached with champagne. Mila waved it away. Red wine instead, she said, smiling. I've developed a taste for reclaiming things. Mayion kissed her temple. My queen. As cameras flashed and guests celebrated, Mila raised her glass. To phoenixes, she whispered. And dragons, Mayion replied. They drank, and the past finally burned to ash. Mila looked at the woman in the mirror, the same bronze skin, the same eyes. But this time, she saw a queen. They said she'd never recover. But she didn't just recover, she rose. What's one thing you've reclaimed after someone tried to take it from you? Share your victory below.